This is the 6th PETALS Snapshot. It is the 20th September 2023, and this is the last couple of weeks of what's been going on with all things PETALS. Quick reminder as to what PETALS is all about. It's a very simple but powerful framework that I've been creating and developing over the last year or so, generally for software engineering teams, but it translates really well for other teams as well. All the details are on petals.team if you want to find out more. As you can tell, slightly different scenery today, and I've not really had the chance to speak to anyone in the last couple of weeks either, so it is just going to be me, I'm afraid. But hey, let's change the scenery, just make it a little bit different. Let's get into the scores. Okay, productivity is 4, enjoyment is 4, teamwork is 2, learning is 4, and serenity is 4, loads of 4s again. Average of 3.6, which is no change to last time, and let's get into the details why. So, as the scores suggest, teamwork has dropped recently, basically because I've not really had the chance to speak to many people beyond myself and the people that I'm working closely with. I've left Brian to his own devices recently. He's got a lot of commitments on at the moment. I reached out to a few people to see if they wanted to get involved, but all are quite preoccupied right now. And understandable. I'm feeling the brunt at the moment because we have gone back to school in the house. Everyone's back out of the house. We've got a new dog thrown in the mix now. So I'm trying to rebalance my personal side project time with all the other family commitments. And we're getting there, but obviously it has impacted how much I can actually get done in my spare time. That said, because it's a subjective score, I still feel like I managed to get enough done as I talk about what has actually been going on. So after last time, when I fixed those Google Toolkit problems, I sent another email out on Button Down to the mailing list. I did notice that Google or Gmail was flagging it as potential spam. So I had a quick investigation, and it looked like the DKIM configuration on the Cloudflare DNS settings weren't quite right. So I made a few changes. I hope it worked because I applied those changes prior to sending the email. It was all scheduled through Button Down anyway, so I had a bit of time to have a look at that. Hopefully it's working. Open rate still looks quite low, but that's hard to tell sometimes because generally email open rates are low. Anyway, if anyone has not received the Google Toolkit fixes email, can you please just drop me a little message or let me know? Email webmaster@petals.team and I know then if it's coming through or not. Elsewhere, I've created a new page on the website at petals.team/snapshots, which, as the name suggests, is just details about these snapshots that I'm creating. So at the moment, it's just embedding the Spotify and YouTube feeds. So they are quickly available if you're in there. And there are a row of links out to the popular podcast and YouTube channels. That basically allows anyone to follow along. I just wanted a simple page that kind of compiles all that content into one place. When I was speaking to my old friend Adrian Lansdowne about this, I can actually have a blog area to the site as well. And I can actually put little updates on there. So that's something for later down the line. It's not something that I want to prioritize right now. I really want to work on the frameworks to make sure that they're in good shape. On the frameworks front, I've now started work on the Microsoft version. So prior to using Google, I set something up with Microsoft Forms and Excel. Now, unfortunately, this was all stored in SharePoint. So not everyone actually has access to SharePoint, which has put a bit of a spanner in the works as to how I'm going to implement this. I have created a basic form in Microsoft, which anyone can really do, but as a template, there's one out there now. If you go to petals.team/Microsoft-toolkit, that will take you straight through to the form that you can copy for yourself and use with your own teams. The data is very raw right now, though, so it's not really very pretty graphics to really use as a conversation. But you will get that raw data off the back of those form captures and you can start discussing it. What I suggest you do is you take a copy of that form, you start capturing scores, and then you use the reports that are generated from forms to show where the hotspots are. You do get charts to kind of suggest, there's a larger proportion of 3s or 4s or 2s, and you can see the spread as well. There are free text fields in there as well to capture your highlights, challenges, and lessons learned. So again, that might prompt into the conversation. But I'd suggest if you are in a Microsoft house, take a copy of that, take TNX Team Retro and see how it works. At the moment, it's just data capture. What I will look at doing is creating maybe an Excel sheet that you can download and import that data to then create pivot tables from. But as I say, work in progress, not as straightforward as I'd like it to be, like it is in Google. And this is all sort of another way of trying to capture those scores for the conversation. We are obviously building this application as well in the background, but as things are standing at the moment, I'd rather just enable teams to get on with this concept straight away. If you need any help with the Microsoft Toolkit, give me a shout. You can get hold of me on the email address, webmaster@petals.team, or you can reach out to me on Mastodon, managingengineers.net@si. I don't do X anymore. Along with the Google Toolkit, I've now hooked it up with If This Then That, IFTTT, to my Slack workspace that I've created for Petals as well. So if you want to have a look at how this works, get in touch. I will send you an invite so you can join me in that Slack workspace and start asking questions. That's what the community is going to be about, though. It's about how to use Petals, how you're using Petals, get those conversations flowing a bit more, and find out more about what's going on behind the scenes, or maybe interact with me directly. So if you do want to get involved in that, give me a shout on the contact details I provided earlier, and I'll invite you to the workspace and we can start discussing stuff there as well. What I was trying to get at, though, that I've created this hook so it automatically captures the scores from the Google form and pushes it straight through to a Slack channel. I wanted to do this as a very quick and simple proof of concept, because this is how I want the framework to kind of evolve in the future for async teams that don't necessarily have the opportunity to have a conversation live, but in a specific Slack's workspace, you can ask that question on a periodic cadence, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever, and the bot actually captures those scores automatically. You can share them in your team, and then you can sort of get to that point where you've got everyone's in. Let's discuss the results overall, because you can start compiling that data. So that PSC works quite nicely. It's very quick, very live. You get that feed straight in. Ultimately, this should be a dedicated app, but we'll get there eventually. Finally, I've got another talk lined up now. I'm working with Educative, the organization and publication that reached out to originally discuss Petals and share it with the engineering community. Now, they're hosting monthly webinars now. So I offered my services after they reached out, and we are working through that detail right now. This is going to be very engineer focused. A lot of the attendees are techies and engineers and individual contributors. So I want to try and engage with them directly. It's not for managers conversations specifically. It's more for self-awareness. So what I want to try and do is kind of pose the problems that are introduced with other frameworks, why you want to kind of maybe measure your team health as a team, emphasis on team there. But also I want to try and make it more interactive as well. So that's planned for later this year. I'm hoping to plan it for December. It might be January, the way things are going at the moment. But watch this space. As that kind of gets confirmed and cleared up, I will put more details out there. And again, that ties back to the suggestion of having like an updates or blog section to the website. So that's it for this time round. As I say, lots of chipping away at a lot of little things at the moment. The main focus right now is around the frameworks and getting them in a good shape for the teams to start playing with this stuff and using this stuff. I really want to hear back from people that are trying it out. And if you're having problems, just let me know. What I'd like to have done in the past is create maybe a clinic or something. So a regular drop-in, maybe a monthly session to kind of join me and others to sort of come along with your challenges and your problems, find out more. I would love to hear back from people though, and I'd like to shake up this content. We've got to 6 snapshots now, which is great. I'm going to keep going on a fortnightly cadence, change the scenery, try and mix up the formatting a little bit. But I really would love to get some people involved in the conversation and make this more of a community effort rather than just an individual thing as well. Reach out on the email, webmaster@petals.team, or you can hit me on socials, managingengineer.net@si, or you can go to the website, petals.team, and follow along there. Until next time.